So, are there no remakes that you like?
I didn't not mind...
or at least ones that you don't find bad. Yes.
Friday the 13th wasn't bad. It wasn't, but I've always just been a huge fan of that film anyway. And
honestly, anything of the genre. I mean, even if you think it's bad, if it's campy, as long as you just still appreciate it, it's all horror in the end, and you got to do what you got to do.
And just keep the faith and do it. Do it. Make it bloody. Make it gory. Take that thriller. Take that suspense. Put it into your script and work the audience. And, you know, independent filmmakers, like I said, it's so easy. You get a little handheld camera. You can do it anywhere.
How familiar were you with some of the other horror hosts that are here?
Myself, fairly familiar. Obviously, putting together the character, I wanted to see what else was out there. And being an associate producer for the Graveyard Show, we've had an opportunity to interview a lot of these folks before we even came here. I think Ms. Misery, Rainey Young's been on the show. Cindy Martin, Helena the Hussy of Horror. We've had, Count Gordeval was just on a couple weeks ago, Dr. Ghoulfinger. So, yeah, and I think the whole horror hosting community, like, I'm the new kid on the block, you know, and a lot of these people, they've got a lot of time under their belts, or a lot of them are a little newer, and they're actually syndicating their shows, and I think that's great. You know, I think Midnight Mausoleum with Marlena Midnight, they're in like 12 cities now, and that's just great. But the community is so tight, and I think an event like this and just the communication is great in the horror community with horror hosts and filmmakers and everybody else right now.
It's very overwhelming at times.
Yeah, it is. The emails just keep rolling in.
Yeah.
And not just limiting yourself to the ones who are here. What are some of your favorites of all time of horror hosts?
Zachary. Of course, Elvira was always good to look at.
I was just going to say Elvira. She's like my big sister.
But one that's not really a creepy horror host, Joe Bob Briggs from Monster Vision. You know, Joe Bob Briggs. I used to watch that every Saturday night.
Who or what, you kind of already touched on this, but who or what are some of your greatest influences, either to just the tone of your show or your characters even?
Well, I personally like the Bee Gees because, you know, they came up with my theme song, Staying Alive. But, you know, horror hosts, the one guy on my local television station, that was probably the guy that gave me the inspiration. You know, I had a chance to meet him when I was first putting this together, and he showed me a bunch of the old clips, and he's like, I'm not going to take a pie in the face. He's like, do it. That's old shtick, do it. So, you know, in homage to Dick Flanagan, I will take a pie in the face sooner or later.
Maybe for me, you know.
Maybe later tonight, you never know.
Who knows? We're playing everything by ear.
I think I hear the innuendo alarm.
No, for me it was just the idea of being a strong, independent, untouchable, cleaver-wielding, just...
So you got your inspiration from me? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, actually. No.
I think I'm turning blue.
Oh, stop that.
Doesn't run green like blue?
No, Rich really did help me create June the Meat Cleaver. Fantastic friend, fantastic mind, very creative.
I came up with the name.
Yeah, he is the one that came up with the name. I started out with just the name June because that's what I was called, you know, before I moved to Madison, actually. And I'm like, hey, my name is Marie, but people also call me June, and told him that, and he's the one that came up with June the Meat Cleaver. I'm like, all right, let's roll with it. Whatever you say.
Coincidentally, being her birthday, her parents are in town this weekend, so I got to meet the Cleavers.
Yes, he met the Cleavers. They're very proud of their little daughter.
This one we'll kind of test the waters of irony. Are you guys afraid of the dark?
When I was a kid, a couple of the horror film trailers on TV actually made me afraid to go into the basement. Possibly that film, Don't Go in the Basement. But children play with dead things, or what is it? Children shouldn't play with dead things. That trailer just freaked me out when I was a kid. And then when I started getting back into this and interested in it, I went and looked at the trailer, and it's like, oh my God, that's terrible. That is terrible.
Are there any movies that now that you've gone back and seen them, is it sort of like, oh man, this is terrible, you've got to see this?
Doom Asylum. I always loved that film, and now I'm looking at it and I'm like, what was I thinking? That's probably the one for me. Yeah, that's the one.
Dear Michael Bay, please remake Doom Asylum.
No, there's a few films. Oh, speaking of Doom Generation, weird.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
Robert Duvall's son.
It's hardly even horror. You need to. I don't know if there is a right mindset to watch it, but brilliant film. But I don't think I'll watch it again.
I think it's disillusioned Gen Xers is what that. Okay. So you may have touched on some of these already, but these are sort of like, you know, to just your personal taste. Elvira or Stella?
Elvira.
Elvira. Yeah. Again.
Always be the mistress of the dark.
Again, I consider her like, if she was my sister, she'd be my big sister. She's inspired me a lot. Fantastic, beautiful, always with it. Yeah.
Who would you watch 1,000 times? You know, kind of use this as like the prelude to the either or. Who would you rather watch 1,000 times, Zachary or Svengoolie?
Svengoolie? Ooh, that's hard.
I'd watch each one 500 times.
I'll watch it with you.
All right.
500 times?
I don't know. The original Svengoolie?
It just says Svengoolie, so I imagine the original Svengoolie, yes.
Because there's been 2 of them, or 3 of them. All family, I believe. And I'm surprised they're not here.
Now you did mention that you got to meet her actual family. How your family's kind of, like when you first told them I'm going to be a horror host, what was their response?
My family doesn't know anything about it. They would hate the idea. They're very closed-minded.
And my parents are here, so
They actually said it in the filming of the live streaming film that we did today, and they loved it.
yeah, they
So
were
it's like,
sitting there
mine hate it,
watching their
hers
little
love it.
daughter. Yes, they gave birth to this. No, they're very proud of me. They've always loved my theatrical side. I was involved in theater my entire life, and they wouldn't have it any other